Welcome to Compass Conversations. This is a new podcast with the Compass Center, formerly known as the Center for Faith and Vocation. In these conversations, we are going to chat with faculty, staff, and students who advance our mission of supporting communities of faiths, meaning, purpose, and spiritual life. My name is Allison, and I'm a senior journalism and German double major at Butler. For our fifth episode, I facilitated a conversation with Jewish Life Advisor Michael Aronson and sophomore Alyssa Smith. Michael Aronson joined the Compass Center as Jewish Life Advisor in April 2023 during a future faculty teaching fellowship year at Butler University's College of Communication. Michael holds a master's degree in Jewish Studies from Hebrew College in Newton Center, Massachusetts, and is working towards a doctorate in media studies at Indiana University Bloomington. He serves the Jewish community at Butler by channeling his passions for living in community, Jewish learning, adult education, and pluralism towards helping the Compass Center create an inclusive and loving environment for all people at Butler. Alyssa Smith is a sophomore psychology and Spanish double major on the pre-occupational therapy track. She's the director of orientation and mentorship in the honors program and a co-president of Hillel. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. All right, well, thank you, Mike and Alyssa, both so much for joining. So Mike, if you want to start, just briefly describe how you got involved with the Compass Center and what you do as Jewish Life Advisor.
So yeah, that's a wonderful story. I actually started at Butler not this past fall, but the fall before, fall 22, uh, on a future faculty teaching fellowship through CCOM. And as I was walking down campus one day, there was a religion and media cookies and conversation run by Jenna Bird and other students, some affiliated with Hillel and others affiliated with other campus faith groups. And we just got into talking about my area because I also look at media and religion. And Jenna and several of the other people there were like, oh, hey, you need to talk to Daniel. So I talked to Daniel, and Daniel said, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but we're hiring for this Jewish Life Advisor position. And no promises, but if you're interested, you should apply. And I did, and the rest is history. So as Jewish Life Advisor, I'm able to apply my teaching skills and just my interest in Jewish life, Jewish enrichment, and trying to create Jewish joy on campus to students in campus life, Jewish students in campus life specifically in three main areas. The first is Jewish student support, which could mean working with Hillel. For example, we have our Hillel Compass Center Passover Seder coming up this Monday. We're very excited about, and working and having conversations with Hillel about other kinds of things and navigating other kinds of issues that come up on college campuses in this day and age, as well as just being there for Jewish students and providing educational programming and social programming for them, like the teaching Shabbat that we pulled off earlier this semester as well. That's part of it. The other part of it, the second part of it, is campus education. So working with dining services, making sure there's signage up, celebrating the holidays, making sure that dining services and other areas around campus are providing education, signage, activities to do with the Jewish calendar, Jewish life, Jewish culture, and making Jewish life more visible on Butler campus alongside the wondrous variety and diversity that we have here and that we're working so hard to foster. And finally, there is also an admissions component where we hope that by combining the on-staff Jewish support with making Jewish presence on campus more visible and celebrating Jewish culture on campus overtly and proudly, that this will help drive more Jewish interest in Butler campus, which would be good for the Jewish community because Butler's a fantastic school, and great for Butler as well because Jewish life, Jewish culture is wonderful, and we are stronger. We're stronger together.
Perfect, thank you. So Alyssa, can you kind of describe your involvement with the Compass Center and your involvement with Hillel?
Yeah, so I joined Hillel as a freshman when I came to Butler. I had met with student representatives from Hillel when I was touring Butler, and then at block party freshman year, I was like, all right, sign me up. And since then, I've been involved in a variety of ways. First semester of my freshman year, I was just member. I came to all the events. I had a great time. And then second semester freshman year, after elections, I was elected as the first year representative, which made me kind of a liaison between the first years and the rest of Hillel, and also just kind of gave them a friendly face. So I'd meet with prospective students, plan events for them at the beginning of the school year, focus on block party and kind of reeling people in and all of that. And then in November of 2023, we had elections and I was elected as the co-president of Hillel for this calendar year, which has been really exciting. So I do a variety of things as the president of Hillel. I am a liaison between Hillel and Jewish faculty on campus, specifically Mike, our Jewish life advisor, as he is kind of our liaison between campus as well. And I oversee a wonderful Hillel executive board, which helps to plan events, whether that be religious events or just fun social events. And also, I just help to support the other members of Hillel in whatever endeavors they would like to do, whether that be Jewish related. And any concerns and interests they may have, I'm here to support them and here to listen and all of that.
Yeah, thank you. Mike, what would you say is your main goal or objective as Jewish Life Advisor?
Well, that's a fantastic question. I would say it's getting Jewish students at Butler campus excited about their Jewishness, whatever that means. Jewishness means a variety of different things. We don't have time to talk about all of that, but for some Jewish students, Jewish joy, Jewish pride is going to Friday night Shabbat dinners and saying the blessings and the prayers and lighting candles. For some Jewish students, it's engaging in various types of social events like going to the football games as Jewish students, not just as Butler students, yes, as Butler students, certainly, but as Jewish students. And helping Jewish students, regardless of their approach to identity, find connection, find commonality, and finding beauty in this community we have here. I think Alyssa would agree with the following statement: we're small, but we are mighty. We are small, but we are beautiful. We are small, but we are here. And to get Jewish students at Butler campus excited about being small and mighty, small and beautiful and small, and being here as Jewish Butler students.
Yeah, thank you. So Alyssa, what are some challenges you face as a Jewish student on campus, and how does having that established community through the Compass Center, through Hillel, and with Mike as Jewish Life Advisor help with that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think one of the biggest challenges being Jewish on a campus, specifically like Butler, is we only make up about 2% of the population, which is pretty small. And knowing where your Jewish community is at can be difficult because you don't just go around asking people. And it's not everyone who's Jewish is involved with Hillel, which is totally, totally okay. So I think a challenge is feeling that representation and feeling like we're heard, because even though we are a small amount, like Mike said, we are still very much here and we are important, and we have, the intersectionality of religion and culture here on campus. And to make sure that the needs of both those identities are met is really important. So having an organization like Hillel makes it a great space where we're able to support students and kind of be a place for people to lean on, whether that be for the cultural aspect of their identity, like celebrating the holidays and just having people to hang out with, especially because not everyone celebrates the holidays, or the religious aspect where we're talking about religious observances and talking about what they mean and doing prayers and all of that. And just like having a place where you can hang out with other Jewish people. Because again, we are 2%, so it is hard sometimes to find people who you relate to. And having someone like Mike here is also amazing because, especially for students who don't want to be involved in Hillel, people feel like they have someone to reach out to for anything they might need. And Mike is great with providing resources and a listening ear or advice about anything students may need or any concerns they might have, especially as it pertains to being Jewish at Butler.
Yeah, thank you. So shifting gears a little to the more vocational aspects of your roles in U.S. People. So, Mike, if you want to start, who has been the most influential person in your journey or one of the most influential people, and what did you learn from them?
That's a fantastic question. There's too many people. I have to go with Kathy Schechter of Austin, Texas, who I actually met in my master's program when I went for my master's in Jewish studies at Hebrew College in Newton, Massachusetts. Kathy and I were assigned as chavruta one semester, which is the Hebrew for friend in study partner kind of a sense. And she and I were chavruta for each other. And we continued studying afterwards because she'd studied many years with luminaries of Talmud study on the Jewish conservative and reform movement spectrum, especially Rabbi Judith Z. Abrams, who is gone but not forgotten. And so it was a privilege for me to study with Kathy in particular, and I considered it an honor to be a part of this lineage of teachers that, on the one hand, uh, engages with texts like Mishnah and Talmud and Chassidut and the ethical traditions on their own terms, but on the other hand, reads how gender over time has impacted them. So, on the one hand, to encounter Jewish wisdom and thought in a way that I can go, okay, this is what these people are saying, and this is what these people mean. But hey, not everyone who's Jewish is also a straight man, where these texts tend to have been written overwhelmingly by men, right? So how to look into the text and see what it has to offer for all Jewish people. And I would say that this has been critical for my development as what I consider myself to be a religious Jewish man, and as a religious Jewish man in service to Jewish students and Jewish people generally.
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. Same question to you, Alyssa.
I would say the most influential people kind of in my Jewish experience have definitely been my family, but more specifically my parents. My parents, um, throughout their life, so along with my grandparents as well, I guess, have been very involved with Judaism in terms of both the religious and cultural aspect. And I think growing up, it was very instilled in me that this is a great community, which it was. I would not trade it for the world. My parents got me involved in just about every Jewish event. I went to a Jewish preschool. I went to Hebrew school growing up. I went to Jewish day camp, Jewish overnight camp, and they encouraged me to take positions in Jewish leadership roles through youth groups and all of that. And I think that has just kind of shown me how important it is to me to surround myself with people who are Jewish and to just kind of further my Jewish religion and practices kind of in my own way. Nothing was ever forced on me, which made it really cool because I was kind of able to make my own decisions about things and definitely learn to appreciate the Jewish community and both the cultural and religious aspects of Judaism, which was super cool. And also, another thing about my parents and my family in general is they're very open to conversation about things. And so I was always able to have good conversations with them about what I thought about certain things. And just, you know, when I'm getting involved with in different areas with Jewish life, they're very good about talking to me about it and, helping me figure out why this is important to me. But also, again, not forcing anything, not making me believe a certain way, and kind of allowing me to pave my own path, which has been super cool.
Yeah, thank you. So
I
let's
think
see.
that's, can
Sorry,
I
go
just
ahead.
add something? I think so. That's why you and I actually get along so well because, uh, when I was young, I had a different background from you. I was raised in a very definitely culturally Jewish household. We went to shul every so often. Um, the options were not presented in the same kind of a way. I didn't find the religious tradition until much later, but because of how you've developed and how I've developed and how we've both grown and how we've both had the opportunities in our different life ways to live to live our Jewishness differently and test things out and experiment. We have experience living on both sides of the, are we cultural? Are we religious? Are these terms useful at all? Because it's both and neither.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. So Alyssa, you can start for this one, but what advice would you have for people looking to engage in interfaith conversations, whether that is in a setting like on a college campus or just in general?
I think one of the most important things you can do is engage in interfaith conversations because it can be very polarizing to only hear one thing. And it's also very rewarding to hear from other people, especially going to places that are less diverse. It's important now more than ever to hear the voice of the small percentage because it's often overlooked and ignored. And so, acknowledging the experiences of other people and being able to hear about other people's beliefs, practices, lifestyle, all of that is super cool. And it also just allows you to kind of broaden your understanding, not just of yourself, but the world around you too, because everyone's different and you won't really learn that unless you talk to people.
Yeah. Mike, do you have advice?
Remember that we are all neighbors. We are all neighbors. I think in the United States, many of us first encounter the idea of love of neighbor through various kinds of Christian dialogues. But hey, Leviticus 19:18, love your neighbor as yourself and don't bear a grudge against your or their kin, right? And remember that the text does not make distinctions between, right? Alyssa and I are both Jewish people, right? The text does not say Alyssa and I are neighbors and say Allison is not. No, the Torah is clear. We are all neighbors. We are all supposed to love each other as ourselves. And I think for people who want to engage in interfaith dialogue, which not just a great idea, we're commanded to do it. We're commanded to, we're commanded not just to understand the people around us, we're commanded to love the people around us. Uh, that's both an obligation, but also a guideline because it's so easy for these conversations to deteriorate. And I think setting that baseline, love, loving your neighbor, and having interfaith conversation to figure out how to love your neighbor, how to make your neighbor's concerns your own, and hopefully have your neighbor recognize that your concerns are theirs too. I think keeping that in mind is very helpful, especially right now.
Thank you. So to end, Mike, you can start for this one, but given that we're all facing personal, professional, global challenges, what gives you hope for the future?
I have been privileged in my personal life and at Butler especially by the quantity and the quality of small everyday engagements that I think leave the world a little bit better than I find it just by virtue of having them, right? So I think the fact that I can have a useful, loving conversation with someone who might not agree with me about everything, but we recognize each other's humanity, we recognize each other's concerns, and we might not walk away with everything, like we might not walk away seeing eye to eye on everything, but the fact that we can have that conversation and realize that there's details that are different, but are common humanity and the things we want out of life: love, peace, trust, good life, good family, good community, whatever that means, that on these basic issues we agree. And the rest is commentary. That gives me hope.
Yeah. Same question to you, Alyssa.
I think what gives me hope is seeing people who care. It's tricky because we talk with social media, especially, we see so many issues surface every day. And it's one thing just to post about it, but it's another thing to open yourself up to conversations, whether they be uncomfortable. And seeing that people take interest in a topic that doesn't even have to affect them is really meaningful to me because, kind of like Mike said, we are all humans and we're all affected by different things. And ultimately, we have to care about things that are larger than ourselves. And that's the only way we're going to get better, even if it's one small step at a time. It's one of the most important things to pay attention to an issue, to talk about it, to let people know you're there for them. And when I see people doing that to others or to myself, it really gives me hope that we can go from one small step to a few small steps and just kind of going on from there.
I really love something you just said, Alyssa, that attention is one of the highest expressions of love we can give. I think that's a beautiful idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much.